Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 12 of Thessia. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be setting up a bypass road system for the town of Sentinel, alongside completing some of its suburban areas that need to be filled out. Going to throw in a school campus and some really nice ideas with medium density using Art Deco and the Hearts of Korea pack. Some really nice ideas in this episode, so please enjoy your network hyperlapsing, and I'll catch you guys in the live play. By the way guys, just a little plug for a new bit of merchandise that we have available on the channel. I'd like to introduce you all to the official map of the United Provinces of Thessia that full-on detail all this amazing cities that we built together over the last 4 years. An enormous shout out to Rich for designing this for me. It wouldn't have been possible without him, so please show Rich some love in the comments as well. But if you'd like to order this, it's available in 2 different sizes. It does help support the channel, and you get this really cool canvas piece in return. I've got one up in my office. Really great bit of merch, so I hope you enjoy it. Links below. Let's carry on with the episode. Alright guys, so I want to start today's Thessia by talking about some network multi-tool fun that we're going to have today. So, a big project with the road network I want to do for the town is to actually have a Sentinel bypass road come around the edge of the mountain, eventually cross over the rail and then down into this town and probably hook around into the downtown eventually as well. So just establishing that little bit of a dual carriageway system. And I think we'll call this maybe the E1, right? After the sort of the M1 and M2 roads that I'm seeing a lot of in Australia. I don't know. I will leave you guys to name the dual carriageway system if you want to. Cool, so let's get started here. So I want to bring up a little bit of highway road here, and we're going to start coming up on an elevation. Let's go for 7 meters initially, and then same thing over this side again as well. 10 units and then 7 meters should do us. And then we also want to prepare some slip lanes here as well. So how much room do we have to work with here? We can of course always move the rail over. There's no point forcing ourselves into a tighter space here. We're not going to have the room to work with it. So you can just go in this general direction for right now. And then we'll also do the same with this slip road over here too. Let's come off. Get a little bit of a curve going with hitting some road guidelines. And then we'll use network multi-tool to finish that in a second. So let's come back to our 2-lane highways, and then we're going to grab network multi-tool again. And this time we're going to hit the create curve mode after we've aligned a couple of roads where we want our slip system to go. So we'll hit that one, and then come over to here. That's grand for me. And then we'll also do that same functionality again. Create curve, hello, and people. Fantastic. Cool. Such a handy tool that, isn't it? Just to get those nice, smooth, seamless curves going off over there. It's just a great mod. I do love network multi-tool. And then we're going to do the same thing over here again as well. So we're going to hit our curve mode with these smaller slip lanes. Everyone's going to be happy with that. And then this as well shouldn't hopefully be too much of a problem. And then once we've got that in, we want to come back through with the road tools and just force all these guys back down to earth so there's no bridge sections. Something like that. And then we'll use network multi-slope as well to arrange our heights. And of course, let's not forget, we are left-hand traffic, slowly getting more used to it. There we go. Fabulous. So now it's going to move it, and we're going to use our picker tool to grab just the 2-lane highways. And I want to grab it over where this road is passing the rail, so we can make sure we've got enough height clearance. Probably these nodes down here as well, actually. just so we can start to raise them up. So let's come down to that train, see just how much room we need. That's plenty of room there, isn't it? It's quite a way above the power lines. And on our road, that's definitely going to be plenty of clearance. And then we just want to scout out any rogue pillars that don't belong here. So goodbye. And that should be it, I think. No more pillars in the road. Everyone's okay. Let's go back into multi-tool and we'll grab network multi-slope. And let's go from... Oh no, there is a pillar in the road. There we go. You guys are going to excuse my very nasally voice today as well. Hay fever is horrific this time of year. So let's slope from here down to here, I think. Makes it a bit more palatable, doesn't it? Do that same thing over here again as well. And I think it will even slope the slip lanes here too. Just so everyone's nice and happy. Same with you. Let's come back into there. We're definitely going to need a little bit of a barrier here, aren't we? As people pass by the train line, if we don't end up moving that train line over a little bit anyway. Yeah, cool. So that is actually the entrance configured. It will flow properly now. So we're using a bit of inspiration in a place called Gawler today. Right near Uncle Rob's worm farm as well, which I thought was a funny thing to see on Google Earth. But Gawler has a lot of different bypass and sort of slip systems, and you know, these things, they're not always omnidirectional. I don't really want it going in every direction. It's really just to stop people coming through Sentinel if they want to go past Sentinel, you know? That's what we're trying to do here today. It's not looking too bad, is it? It's some pretty grand infrastructure. In some cases, I might even end up forcing them back down to ground, such as here. It really depends how much tearing we have to play with, because it will be pretty awkward here. Maybe we can not have it mirrored, you know? This one can be embanked for a little bit longer before the other one actually turns into a bridge. I think a little bit of master softening here as well will go a long way, won't it, for helping everyone settle in. Fantastic. Cool, so that's the general concept. We will eventually, of course, hook this into somewhere. Right now it is a road to nowhere. It doesn't go anywhere, but one day it will. And it's going to provide a lot of sort of slip access traffic for the town. We also want to do a little bit of node controller here too. In our junctions, so we just want to square everybody off. Let's bring these guys off a little bit more. Same thing here again as well. And then with this road that's actually coming into the slip system, we could actually do a little bit of 3-lane highway here. But what I do want to do is, first of all, ask it for no road signs, otherwise we're going to get the weird highway sign on it. So we'll have 2 sections of 3-lane as they merge in, and then we'll node control this. Let's go and stretch it out a little bit. And then we definitely want this lane here that's just joined the dual carriageway to merge away, so we use intersection marking tool for that. You will become a solid, and then this dash will go straight in while the other one carries on, and then that will maintain our 2-lane system as it merges back into a dual carriageway from that sort of merging fast lane right there. So it works something like that. Wonderful. It's very satisfying, isn't it? Super. So we can enjoy some Aussie lane maths as well. Speaking of the wonderful world of our community, the wonderful Thessia Flags has built another wonderful billboard, the Welcome to Sentinel, which is just so nice. Big shout out to Terry, everyone. If we can get some love for Terry in the chat, that'd be grand. So we'll have this, I guess here is going to be the most sensible point, isn't it? Or maybe actually we could, yeah, it should be in the roundabout really, shouldn't it? Yeah, it should. I guess we could also put it against the train line here. But let's look at this, right? So cool. So we used a screenshot from an episode of like the nighttime view from over by the campus. And then it's just got the mountain there as well in the background. It's just really cool. Great work, Terry. Thank you for that, bud. It's always nice to have community-made assets, and you guys have really been smashing them in Sentinel. I hope it makes the series more enjoyable for you. Cool. But that's our road system. I'm happy with this now. Let's turn our attention toward what's going to happen with the rest of today's episode. So within this space here, we're going to use this to fill some of the endless residential demand that Thessia has. And we're also going to do some fun things down by the water as well with some of the Art Deco assets, I think, too. So let's just create some frames here. General suburbia stuff, nothing massively exciting. And then we're going to use Thessia's forest brush just to help give a border between the houses and the road. And I kind of want this overgrown road feel to continue a little bit. Oh, we also like as well, haven't really pointed this out actually, Just because of the terrain here at the foot of the main mountain, everything is on a slight layer, especially the trains here as well as they come into town. Like, look how cool Thessia's train infrastructure is becoming now. Really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. Random side note anyway. But yes, so we've upgraded this road here down into, or up into industrial 4 lane, which now heads into the port down this way. So I don't want much residences on this industrial road, and I'm actually going to use the intersection marking tool to help decorate it today. So let's go ahead and set up some lines. And I want to set this to be a fence first of all. Can we get away with... So we'll set this to be a decorative network, and then let's find an appropriate fence. I reckon, you know, a bit of Old Faithful vanilla farm might actually be best here. Yeah, so we'll do something like that. And then you can actually use intersection marking tool to align the trees. But I often find that looks quite unnatural, especially when you're after a more sort of overgrown random palette. So let's just grab a random selection. Let's go for some of our smaller trees, and we'll create some kind of shrub clusters along the edge of that fence. And then we'll do a couple of ferns as well in there. Really want some things to pop, maybe a couple of little regular bushes too. And then we'll do the occasional sort of larger tree as well. We want to make sure we're kind of poking through the fence at some points as well, okay? Kind of a bit of a bush barrier, if you like, between the suburb and this arterial road that goes down into the port. So that's going to be good for me. Let's then use intersection marking tool, and we will copy that, we'll paste it onto that one, and basically just have this run all the way down the port road. At least for the foreseeable. We'll decide what happens when we get to the waterfront bit. So I do want some housing in these spaces. And then now we've got that palette in, let's go ahead and grab just our trees with Move It. So we can get that little palette, and then we just want to fill those spaces. Give it a 180-degree rotation sometimes as well. It'll just help differentiate the way sort of the trees appear and rise and fall with each other as the fence goes on. And then we'll grab ourselves a taller / medium tree. We just want to kind of accentuate a little bit of heavy bush, so to speak. Some taller blue gums as well, something a bit bushy might be quite nice. Mix and match, keep it quite random. And don't want these fig trees really. Of course we will have the occasional gum, and then we can just have these, something like that. So that's going to give us a bit of a barrier between this industrial road and the suburb that will eventually sit behind it. Which, speaking of, let's just go ahead and time-lapse some plopping of the suburb so we can just see how people are going to move around this area and enjoy it. And also hide some of these node controller, or pedestrian crossings with node controller rather. Cool, so now we have our suburban sprawl settled in. I really like the way this looks on the approach into the town. Super cool, isn't it? You can just sort of see it peeking through all this sort of thick tropical forest, I guess. So we'll return here now, because I want to come back to the waterfront, because I want to do some more interesting patterns with residential rather than just having it all single-story homes. So it's coming to find it, and we're going to hit this little icon here to filter for content creator packs and DLC. And I'm looking for Art Deco. There we go. And we want this house here. Okay. So these are really nice houses with the Art Deco pack. And they come in a variety of different colours. They're kind of like cute and bold and look really nice up against a waterfront. So let's piece them together. I'm thinking I want to put them in units of 3 to make a little residential pattern here. So we'll have 3 like that. Then let's bunch them up to the edge of the road. It's going to be good for me. Then we'll have another 3. And I want to save a little bit of room in between each batch of 3. And then we'll have this one here as well. Let's make sure we're not on the road if we can help it. And fabulous, that should do us. So we can use Move It to reset the occasional one here because they will change colour, which is quite nice. I actually wonder if repaint will work with these. Yes, they will. Okay, in that case, we might use repaint and get some slightly bolder colours on the waterfront. How do we feel about this, everyone? Let me know down in the comments below. I feel like it might be like a little bit of a art kind of show if we have lots of different colour sort of housings here. It's a little bit bold. I like the kind of teal, we'll keep that one. Let's just change up some of our black colours or darker colours. Let's go for a nice white in there, maybe a little bit of a blue, perhaps. I want quite pastel colours here, nothing too bright. Okay, but nice addition against a waterfront, isn't it? Really cool way of using that. And then with the space behind it and the space that we've saved in between, we're going to come in for a little bit of parking. Let's go ahead and get ourselves bit of poorly maintained. We'll snap into that grid as well. That'll be fine though. And then we'll feed some service roads into that, and we'll get some car parking down. We'll go for some angled ones. Don't really use these that often. So we can have some parking behind, I guess, these condos. Thank you for all the advice as well last episode on sort of how and where to use what we could call high density in Australia. It was very helpful. So we'll definitely kind of stick to 2 to 5 story apartments, nothing taller than that really. So with these spaces here, my thinking is that they will park and then walk through to their apartment on the waterfront, and then in and around that we will embellish with some of our favourite trees, I think, just so there's a little bit of shade knocking about for the people that live in the, I guess the Balamori apartments is the is the best way to describe it, isn't it? Yeah, lots of thick trees around here. And that's going to be quite nice, isn't it? So again, it's still serving as low density residential, but it's just a little bit more appealing. And I really like those colours too. I hope you're enjoying that because it's not going away. We're going to keep that one. So there's no design I want to try, again using low density, but this time we're going to filter for Hearts of Korea. If we can find it, there we go. And then we want low density residential in particular. And I want to use this asset here. It's a really nice looking sort of smaller house / apartment vibe. But what I do want to do is actually piece them together to make kind of like a horseshoe, I guess, condo is what it would qualify as. So we'll stick 3 in a line using our friend Move It. And then once we've got 3, we'll grab them and then throw them around so we can have them on this side. Of course, these guys won't have a connection, so we will use the parking lot service road to help that. And then I think we can squeeze in 2 more again down this side. This actually, we could delete the corner one, then that way the pattern would mirror, wouldn't it? And then we could actually use that as a space filler somewhere around there. It's not looking too weird with any windows right now. I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll bring those up to the corner. And then in the middle, I actually want to see if I can grab one of the new parks. This one here. And then we're going to nudge this back a little bit. And then we're going to turn it into, hopefully, the community garden. If we can find it. Yeah, this one here. So they have like a little garden at the back of their condo. Is what I hope this looks like anyway. It might not be great, but I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's pretty nice. Nice way to use that park community garden skin as well that I've been wanting to use for a while. So we'll service paint up at the front of the apartments as well, just so they have that concrete texture, which is going to be great. And then I think we will actually repeat this as well. So let's grab, actually let's just use Move It and grab all buildings. Actually, rather than using that function, what we will do is actually use the mirror objects function opposite this segment, and that way it's going to be exactly aligned, so we don't have to align it ourselves. And then again, we can just use that service road to provide connections in for them, and then we can do a little park or bench palette here or something like that just to help tie that together. So hopefully a little bit more of an interesting way of getting some, what is still essentially low density as the game would read it, but you know, slightly more interesting suburban, well, residential satisfaction at least, with some of our Art Deco stuff that's been repainted. Oh, I love how they're Their mailboxes change as well, don't they, with the repaint? That's cool, I didn't notice that. But yeah, some hopefully slightly more interesting ways anyway. So these guys would of course benefit from a sports park. Let's dive into the world of Bad Peanuts sports venues. So Sentinel only at the minute has Aussie football, so why don't we give them a cricket pitch? How much bigger is the community compared to the Suburban? Do we like the community one? Does the smaller one still have the larger floodlights on it? It does, okay, so it doesn't really matter then, does it? Okay, yeah, I mean, I think that kind of works there, doesn't it? Although there is a little bit of a lip there, isn't there? Cool. That seems to have sorted itself out. And then we'll just extend these walking pathways out the side of the pitch and probably give a little bit of Thessia tree belt as well, just so there's no stray cricket balls flying onto the bypass. Something like that should do us a job. Awesome. So we've got some new Aussie commercial as well. Well, actually not new, we've had it for quite a while, but we just haven't used them yet. So let's grab another parking road. We will go for the poorly maintained stuff here. I tend to prefer the texture of it. There we go. Let's hide any node controller or pedestrian crossings that we're not a fan of. Also want to bring that blue node back as well. It's a little bit too tight there, isn't it? Cool. Yeah, so we've got a Woolies and a Coles supermarket as well. So I think we'll have the Woolies here. And then if we position it out the front of our car park there, that should give us a little bit of room at the back for some delivery detailing. We can get some crates and trucks, all our usual favourite pallets for expanding on our commercial vibes a little bit. And I think we'll also surface paint this concrete area out the front as well. And we do actually have a planter that is appropriate for what's going on in the city's community at the minute. Where is it? Where are you? You're here, aren't you? Yes, so let's go for the wood one. And we can have a little CS2 planter in a really nice one. It's another one of the Avanya planters, this one. A little bit of a tight squeeze to get in there, but what you are in. Yeah, you can do a little garden. The Vanya's planters are just so great. Really, really good. So I love the Woolworths. I hope it's an appropriate setting for our Aussie friends. I'll wait for them to verify it, of course. But finish off service painting, and then we'll get some parking in here as well. Let's knock some disabled spot. Where's the entrance? There's the front door. It's back there, isn't it, I think? Sort of looks a bit front entrance-y to me. So we'll go for 1, 2 and 3, and then we will switch back to our regular spots here. Cool. So it's not bad now, is it? We're kind of also transitioning back as well from this low-rise stuff over here into a little bit more of, I guess, what you could qualify as a medium density as we head towards that waterfront. So I'm happy with those palettes. I really like the community garden. There's even someone here as well, gardening away. The cowboy gardener of Sentinel is growing various crops. So she's having a nice time anyway. Fantastic. So let's turn our attention over to this space here. So I'm pretty sure we've got a screaming demand for residential. Yes, we do. So we could do with a couple of elementary schools. Let's have one there and there. And then these assets actually merge in quite nicely with one another because you can piece their fences together. So it kind of creates a larger yard, I suppose. Don't mind that. Let's also give them bad peanut sports field. There we go. So we'll have small soccer field for our Australian friends. It is actually football, but we'll call it soccer for the sake of it. Let's have that set down to the same height as the road. So a big shout out to the Tea Addict yet again for more wonderful Aussie advice. Apparently a lot of the schools in Australia tend to be sort of a collection of smaller individual buildings rather than one singular large. And we've got these little numbers here, some portable classrooms. So I think what we will do is actually knock these back a little bit here, just off of the road, so they still maintain their connection. And then we're going to essentially create a mini school campus. So we'll have the pathway kind of meander around and hook in with itself, and it can come up to the road as well. And then we'll also feed this down this side into that area. And we've also got a little Victorian number as well, I believe, haven't I? Yeah, a little New Zealand Victorian school. So I think we'll place this here. And again, we'll knock it off. And how far until we become disconnected? Not that far. We can afford that, I think. And we just have that there, and hope that gives us a more of an Aussie school vibe, I think. I hope, at least, anyway. Again, we can surface paint here, and we'll detail the schoolyard itself in our time lapse. With a little bit of trees along the main road here as well, I think. That should satisfy elementary by quite a way. Yeah, we won't need an elementary school until the next town now. And then we do need high school as well. So in Valkyrie, we used the European high school, wasn't it? Yeah, it was this one here. So with that in mind, let's use the Green Cities one this time. But I think rather than making another campus out of this one, I just want this to have a sort of prominent position as you're driving into Sentinel. Like it's not, like we can pretend it's not really a school, maybe a fancier sort of office building. Well, I just think having it as like a main road feature into the town is going to do quite nicely, isn't it? Nice little focal point. One of the tallest buildings in the town, actually, if we were to leave it in. It's up there with the spa hotels over here as well, isn't it? But it is quite a welcome pop of height, so I think I'm going to be happy with it, to be fair. Yeah. Of course, we'll detail it. Give some tram access around there as well during our time lapse. It isn't going to be too bad. So I think I had a park here as well, didn't I? I must have accidentally deleted that. It was this one. So there we go. Really like the introduction of those Art Deco houses, right? How nice are they? Really great. We've also got our little IMT text here too. I really like that. There's one more sort of example I want to do with this and try and make it look somewhat good. I'm not exactly sure how successful it's going to be, but within one of the lanes here, I would like to have IMT paint out the letters Sentinel for us. I mean, where's going to be best for it? Probably the section before the intersection. So we'll have that there. We'll change this to text. So if we did Sen and then Tinnel, because obviously we can't get it all on one line, we will rotate this by 180 degrees. Yeah, I think these 2-lane highway roads, they're a little small. I guess we could always downscale it a little bit, couldn't we? But IMT freaks out, doesn't it, when you when you reduce the scaling like that? Yeah, we could scale it even further and actually just have it sort of directly in here. And I guess the offset, I would rather have it more toward where the arrow sits on the road. So if we go for like a 30-meter offset there and then scroll it back, then the arrow makes a little more sense, doesn't it? Because it's going to be, you know, Sentinel is off to the left here, and then we could also do the same for whatever town lies straight on past the bypass, you know? So we'll bring this one back down level with the original Sentinel text, and then we'll just change this to say, so we have something like that. Really love doing this. It's a lot of fun having to paint these out, but of course let me know what you guys want to name the Thessia's dual carriageway system, I guess, because I know in Australia they tend to be named after M roads, which is kind of similar to how it is in England. We have the M motorways, of course, but they tend to be 3 lanes rather than dual carriageways. So yeah, we'll keep it like that. So we've got a Sentinel, and then M1 straight ahead, and then of course we can do something similar for Valkyrie as well, you know. Have it run this way for Valkyrie might be quite nice. Let me know what you think of it. It's really fun doing this. It's a really nice, authentic detail. It blends incredibly well as well once you kind of get into your custom billboards up here, which is very nice. Thank you so much again, Thessia. Absolute legendary work, mate. But either way, that feels like a good place for a detailing time-lapse. So we're going to go ahead and get a lot of delivery props out the back of our woolies. Sort of sort out this entire school campus as well. Lots of detailing and trees and playground props and whatnot. Trees and benches and sunshade covers. And it looks as though we could do with a little bit of traffic manager here as well. Let's just do this before we go. We'll come in to junction. No, it's priority signs, isn't it? And then we want to do shift click on the roundabout. And then it looks like there's some idiocy happening here as well, isn't there? Please just go straight through. You guys don't need to stop here. You're on a roundabout. And then going away. Oh, and it's raining as well. Very nice indeed. You don't usually see the rain in Thessia that often. Fantastic. Cool, yeah, lots of roundabout detailing and a ton of network detailing as well. I'm going to bring these roads around this side of the mountain and over the rail. Overgrowth, fencing, and all our usual favourite things to really tie up the entrance into Sentinel, and then after that the town will be pretty much done. I do want to save some of the beachfront for some live streaming when we do start Thessia streams, but apart from that, probably next week we'll be heading up to the new town, which I think is going to be based around wine, which is going to be interesting. But otherwise, let's detail up Sentinel's entrance, and then we'll be right back. Okay guys, let's have a detailing review, shall we? So first of all, absolutely love the view on the bypass road. Down into Sentinel now, you can really see everything from here, just slightly elevated. And you've also got those trains passing by as well, which is very exciting. Filled out all the overgrown areas with our Thessia dry belt. And then also ran some Suburban fence with the intersection marking tool. All up and against it, so no one can just walk onto the train tracks from here, or this sort of industrial sort of infrastructure. Around the roundabout, on the entrance to the town, we have our Welcome to Sentinel sign now with some circular rose bushes patterns, which looks really cute. Really happy with this. And then as you actually come down the street, we have dropped in a rock and actually bobbed it off because every Australian town needs something big. So for this one, I thought we could do Sentinel Rock. Might be a nice feature. It's got a little sign outside it to say that, and then some basic trees around it. Had a bit of an awkward space, didn't know quite how to fill it, so we filled it with Sentinel Rock, basically. Used some of our sound barrier stuff to help protect the children in the playground, and then we've also got this really coolly designed sound barrier as well. We actually use this one in Ilos, but the mountains very much blend in with Thessia, don't they? Especially if you take that there as a bit of a spice sample. Really happy with how that's looked. Playground props in and around here, and then pathways in amongst all the portable classrooms. Again, I hope this is a bit more reflective of an Aussie school, we hope so, anyway. And then we've got our pathway here against the full pink tram line now, which runs right through the middle of town as a bit of a, again, a public art feature. Sentinel kind of has a few of these, especially with the waterfront down here as well. And now especially with the art deco houses. Kind of screams like sort of public art, I guess, doesn't it? So I really enjoyed those, and then we've got all of our condos detailed up here as well. A few benches and trees just to help fill that suburban space that we have left over. And I really love the community gardens in and amongst these little condo shells. They're really nice additions. We'll definitely do this again. Really cute design, super happy with that. More planters and general public space outside of our woolies, which is quite nice, and a singular tree in there. And I just love Sentinel. It's like, it's much better than Valkyrie. I don't quite know why. Just a really different vibe. I've really enjoyed piecing this town together. Some classic commercial delivery detailing out the back of the woolies, just so this area all ties together. And as I mentioned, we are waiting for Errors 404 beach props on the workshop, such as the shark warning signs and the lifeguard towers, to come in. So we'll definitely save some of Sentinel's beach fronts for some live stream fun. Which we're not that far away now. We're coming up to what, episode 11, 12 this is, or something like that. So we will be back to Thessia streams very soon. Just don't want to make too much progress outside of episodes. So we'll definitely return to Sentinel for a stream and do some beach fun together. But otherwise, a really fun town. I've thoroughly enjoyed piecing Sentinel, and it'll be the last time we're here for an episode. Next time we'll head down this way and start developing the vineyard town, which is going to lie over this corner here. I think some nice, sort of vineyard groves up on the mountain slopes here should be quite a lot of fun. But otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, likes, comments and shares below really do help me out. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave me a dislike as well. Don't forget I mentioned that canvas earlier in the episode. If you guys want to go and pick one up, it's kind of a bit of a community homage for all the cities that we've built together over the last couple of years, or more than that, isn't it? 4 years. So if you want to help support the channel and get some cool merch in return, it is linked down below. You should also see it beneath the video as well on YouTube. But otherwise, really happy with Sentinel's bypass infrastructure and final kind of suburban development. There's some really fun ideas here with the Art Deco and the Hearts of Korea and different sort of parks and campuses. Really enjoying building in this style with Thessia. It is an enormous amount of fun. Please do enjoy your cinematics, but I'll shut up and leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.